I found messages on my mother-in-law boss's computer that changed my entire view of her. What do? I listen to Two Hot Takes literally every week, and this happened to me a couple days ago. And I've been at a loss of what to do, so I figured I should finally make a Reddit account and post here. And I work at my husband's family business that builds custom homes. And I met my mother-in-law when she came into the design firm I worked at to pick out some options for a client. She and I hit it off, and after she'd come in a few times, she set me up with her son. And a fast forward 7 years, and I coordinate all the builds and consult with clients on design for the 50-plus-year-old family business. My mother-in-law is technically my boss, but we operate a lot like equals, and she's been taking some steps back. And she and I have always gotten along great, and she has felt like the mother I never got to have growing up. So last Friday I was packing up to go home and on the phone with my husband before he got a flight for annual weekend away with friends. And I was distracted and accidentally grabbed my mother-in-law's computer instead of mine. I didn't realize it until I was home and wanted to look up some fixtures for a project in our own house. Once I knew I texted her to let her know, to which she said no worries. She was unplugging this weekend anyway and to do whatever I needed on it. I was just browsing and unintentionally clicked on a linked email on a store's contact page. And we use MacBooks, and as a lot of Apple users know, that will usually pop up to send an email using your default mail app. And I closed the draft, and when I went to close her email app, I saw an email from a recently hired apprentice titled Our Weekend Getaway Itinerary. I froze. I realized this was her personal email, and I couldn't help myself but to click on it. I found both explicit and romantic messages between this 22-year-old male apprentice and my married 47-year-old mother-in-law and boss. I slammed the computer shut and just went to bed, staring at the ceiling for quite a while. And my husband was gone all weekend and only got home today. I had been spiraling all weekend on how to handle this. I certainly wasn't going to bring it up to my husband while he was gone. But I went to the office and had to see my mother-in-law yesterday and could barely keep my composure. And I found every excuse to lock myself away in my office and be busy. So now my husband is back and I'm wondering what to do. Do I tell him? How do I even do that? Do I go to his mom and confront her? Do I to his dad and tell him help? Update 1. Hey, amount air 2 days later. I shouldn't have been surprised by the amount of people who told me to keep it to myself and that I was in the wrong for snooping. And I shouldn't have opened up the email, but I did, so here we are. And here's an update. My husband knew something was wrong after he got home. He can read me like a book. I told him I found out something I shouldn't have and told him everything. He was mortified. But as some said, that he's glad I told him because keeping it from him would be worse. He knew more about that apprentice than I did. Marilyn Far He was the son of a family friend, and she's known him since he was a teenager. Hiring him was a favor to said friend. The motto my husband said he wanted to take him from there, which he did. He went snooping on his own. All the computer is company property, and he has ownership in it as well and can log in remotely at any time. And I took screenshots of emails going back with the apprentice over a year before he worked here, and of ones with someone else that were 2 years old. And then records of a second phone and hotel reservations. With all that, he took it to his dad. I don't know how that conversation went, but I do know that they went to get him tested. Insult to injury, he tested positive. Farhad and my father-in-law joined us for dinner instead of going home, and we talked for quite a while. He was like a heartbroken teenager. And Anae had no idea what was happening, but years ago he had suspicious of her talking to other men but didn't have any proof, and they dropped it after a brief fight. But now with undeniable proof of multiple affairs, he said it's over. Hell, he also has a pretty airtight prenup that should make it a pretty easy divorce on paper. The family business is on his side, and in the case of infidelity, she forfeits all ownership of the business and the house they built together. So I'm sorry to break it to you. And a coming clean didn't destroy my marriage or my career. I told my husband mostly because we don't keep secrets from each other. It's a foundation of our marriage. But it's almost like reasonable adults put blame only where it's deserved on the cheater. That my father-in-law is pissed and simultaneously devastated and plans to get his ducks in a row before serving her with papers. 1 month later, update 2. 1 month later, like I said, I listen to TT every week and I heard my story on there this week. So yeah, OP was listening, and here is an update. My father-in-law did end up confronting my mother-in-law shortly after my post. He brought the proof that my husband found his positive STI results, a copy of their prenup, and the divorce papers. And from what he told us when he came over for dinner after, he was calm and just laid it all out on the table, literally. She obviously knew she was caught and just asked how he found out. And that he said it wasn't important and outlined what the next steps would look like. He was willing to make some concessions on their prenup if she would come clean about everything and step down quietly. And I think he was so hurt by it all, and he loved her so much that he just wanted this to be done and over. Anik and he did still want to care for her. She fought for a bit, relented, so the divorce should go smoothly. She stepped down willingly from the business and moved out, but he did offer spousal support in their vacation home, which she moved into. Both things that were not included in the prenup. My father-in-law has spent a lot of time at our house or going out with my husband golfing or hiking. And adamant he's heartbroken, worried that it's all going a little too smooth, that she will suddenly change her attitude. But I personally think she just knows she got caught and messed up past any fixing it. And I'm struggling to come to terms with that version of her versus the one I got to know and love. But there's nothing I can do but be there for my father-in-law and husband. The two are really leaning on each other, which is heartwarming for me to see. She reached out to me to apologize for putting me in the position and hopes we can still have a relationship. Have a other that some now, so at some point she found out that he found out for me. I told her not right now, but I don't know what will happen in the future, but my husband is my #1 priority right now. Thank you, Morgan and Mikola, for your take and not ripping me to shreds like some commentators did.